Hello, guys, and welcome back. The best promo cards from the Scarlet Violet era. Let's have a look together. Now, here we are at Pokelector, and first of all, let's determine what makes a great promo card. Now, the Scarlet Violet era didn't give us too many great promo cards, as I find. Most of them are some kind of reprint or just a card with like a stamp, or just like regular EX cards with a different pose. So anyway, I think a good promo card needs to check three boxes. The first of them would be that it needs to have a unique artwork. Now, a unique artwork would be cards like the Miraidon and the Coridon, but they wouldn't necessarily tick the second box, which is where the Pokemon needs to be a fan favorite. For example, the Pikachu would tick box number 2 as well, so it's a unique art and it's a fan favorite. The third would be that the card needs to be somewhat hard to find, which means it cannot be readily available just for grabs. So this means most of the good cards are in an Elite Trainer box, for example, or like the Mewtwo and the Mew in an Ultra Premium Collection box. So yeah, let's dive right into the first card. This is a possible top 10 list that I made, and the first card is, like I mentioned before, it's this Pikachu promo card that you could find in an Elite Trainer box from Paldea Evolved. English prices are now around 10 euros, as we can see, and PSA 10 prices go for around 120. Let's have a look at price charting. This shows us pretty much the same thing. So last solds are around $100 and the raw copies are around 15. Now let's check the population report at PSA. So for the PSA 10s, we are looking at around 5,750 cards at the moment, which is not bad at all, to be honest. For a modern card, this is still quite low. Let's check the gem rate of this card. So currently there are 5,750 PSA 10s from almost 12,000 cards submitted, which only gives us a gem rate of 50%. We can also have a look at the Pokemon Center stamped version, which is obviously a lot harder to grade. 2,722 submissions and only 555 graded a 10. Now, this is a card that I also have myself, but I do have the Japanese version of this card, which I find even nicer with the Scarlet and Violet stamps on it. So yeah, unique artwork, great promo card. Let's check the next one. Next one on my list would be this Charmander promo card, which comes from the Obsidian Flames Elite Trainer box. Now again, you have the standard version, but you also have a Pokemon Center stamped version. This card originally in Japan came in a box where you also had the Squirtle and the Bulbasaur cards that came out in the international Pokemon sets with Stellar Crown. Now this card currently is around 30 euros, we would say, and the PSA 10 prices are extremely high since this card is super hard to grade. You can see there's one listed for 350 and the next one is already 475. Now price charting gives us around $300. Last solds 350, and the raw copies are again around 30 to 33. PSA Pop reports for the standard version 9,000, but gem rate is quite a bit harder on this one, I believe. So we can see almost 32,000 cards were submitted and only 9,000 received a 10. I do not own a graded copy of this card. However, I have quite a few singles. Sadly, none of those were gradable, in my opinion. But anyways, I'm keeping them as singles, and they have done quite well for me already, price-wise, because most of them I picked up at around 10 to 15 euros, I believe. So now we are at 30 or even slightly higher. And I think this card has a great future ahead. All right. So next card on the list would be the Snorlax. Again, unique artwork, fan favorite. Most of the fan favorites, as you will see, are from the first generation. Now Snorlax again. So this is a card that for the international sets have been removed from the standard set, because in the Japanese set, it's just part of the standard set. But we got it as a promo card inside the 151 Elite Trainer box. As you can see, prices right now started around 15 euros. On price charting, it's a similar story. Now in dollar terms, it's even higher for the ungraded ones, $22. And the PSA 10s last sold even reach $200. I do have the PSA 10 of this card that I graded myself. A beautiful card. And also singles of this card I've picked up for around 3 to 4 euros even this year. So crazy upside already. And I think it has a great future ahead, since most people want to collect a master set of 151. They will need to include this card as well. All right, on to the next one. PSA report. Right now, population 7,300. And the gem rate for this card is almost 19,000 submitted. So it's below a 50% gem rate. You also have the Pokémon Center Elite version, which is a lot rarer. As you can see, only 1,400 PSA 10s at the moment. Next card on the list is the Mewtwo from the Ultra Premium collection. Now, I think this is one of the nicest Mewtwo cards out there. Super iconic artwork. A lot of people call it like the Batman kind of Mewtwo. Looks down on a night city skyline, if you want. It's also a very nice copy. I do have a PSA 10 also on display, one of my favorite cards. And the crazy thing is, if we look at the prices now, again, around 30 euros, price charting says even $41 for the ungraded. And the PSA 10 copies have been exploding recently. As you can see, last solds are over 500 now. And the craze started around, roughly 2 months ago, because this card, as crazy as it may sound, I did have a German PSA 10 copy that I traded in for this one. And the guy with whom I traded had this one on sale for 180 euros. And right now, the PSA 10 copy, if we check it card market, the lowest listed is 450. And this was just 2 months ago, which is crazy. Next card, no surprise, it's the Sunset Mew, as people start calling it, which is always a good sign, when people get a nickname. And I also heard City Mew, but I think Sunset Mew is a better match for this card. Prices have been exploding. 80 euros starting price on this one. Price charting says $87, and PSA 10 prices also reached 500. which is crazy. Population report. I'm not even sure. Did we check it for the Mewtwo? No, we didn't. 5,685 out of how many? Almost 22,000 submitted. So extremely hard gem rate on the Mewtwo. This is also what explains this crazy price for the PSA 10 copies. Now back to the Mewtwo. Sorry. Pop report is higher, 8,539. The PSA report says 34,000 cards submitted. So it's similar. Again, it's not an easy card to grade. I currently have 6 copies with PSA, and I'm really looking forward to get at least a few of those in a 10. I think great upside. And also, this is the first textured promo card that we have received from the Scarlet and Violet era, which makes it even more unique. Because all of the previous cards were standard illustration rares, no texture on those cards, which is a shame. So Mew, definitely one of the best Scarlet and Violet promo cards so far. Speaking of textured cards, obviously we have the Kingdra EX from the Shrouded Fable collection. This was such an underrated card for such a long time. Prices were 10, 15 euros for pretty much since the beginning. And now it's at least 45. And also PSA 10 prices have risen quite a bit. So listings start from 350 euros. And on price charting, raw copies $75, and last solds are above $300 as well. Now the prop report is quite a bit higher than previous cards, over 12,000. But remember that this card didn't release in Asia. So there are no Japanese copies, there are no Chinese copies for now, which makes it quite a bit harder since you only have international copies of this card. And this is one of my favorite promo cards. As you can see, I have 3 PSA 10 copies that I graded myself. I have 2 in English, 1 in French. Beautiful artwork. A lot of people think that it has been influenced by these crazy Japanese wavy arts. And again, it's a textured card, which makes it even more unique when it comes to Scarlet and Violet promo cards. Obviously, if we've been talking about the Kingdra, how could we not talk about the Greninja? Same thing, Shrouded Fable collection boxes. Shrouded Fable wasn't a super popular set. This is why these cards are so unique, because you could only find them with Shrouded Fable products. And I do not think that the Pokemon Company will reprint those, since demand for those sets weren't crazy high. So whoever missed those missed out on these as well. Prices are similar. First, it was the Greninja that was super hyped, but now, as you can see, it's slightly cheaper than the Kingdra card. I believe also when it comes to PSA 10 prices, slightly cheaper. Listing starts at around 330. Price charting, similar story. In dollar terms, the PSA 10 cards sell for quite a bit more than the Kingdra. So I think they are really similar value-wise, and I think both of them will have a great future ahead. All right. we are getting closer. Population, again, similar, 11,300. The Kingdra had 12,000. And just a quick glance at the gem rates. 1 second. Quickly check in. So the Kingdra, 20,000 submitted, 12,000 PSA 10, and the Greninja 24,000. So around a 50% gem rate for both of these cards, which is pretty okay. Next card on the list is the Mimikyu from the Paldean Fates Elite Trainer Box. Super cute card. And in my opinion, crazy undervalued. If you look at the prices, it's still crazy cheap. You can pick up copies starting from €4. And the PSA 10 graded copies, there is one here for 110. Price charting is similar, still extremely cheap. And the population is not crazy high. There are only 5,000 PSA 10s currently, and the gem rate is around, let's see, Mimikyu, 8,600 submitted and 5,000. So it's somewhat easier to grade than the cards that we have seen before. Obviously, there's also a Pokemon Center stamped version where gem rate is closer to 50%. And this is the copy that I have here. I ended up picking this one up as a single, and I submitted it myself, and it received the PSA 10, where I'm super happy. And another news, I don't know if you've heard, but there is a new gem pack coming out for the Chinese market. This is the gem pack volume 3, and this will be more of a Halloween themed kind of set with these cards as illustration rares. A lot of new artworks, the Meowth, the Gengar, the Cubone. But as you can see, we will also have this Mimikyu card inside of this set, which I believe will make this Mimikyu card even more more sought after, especially with the Halloween season coming up. So if you have not picked up this card, now would be a great moment, in my opinion. All right, last two cards on my list. Obviously, how could I not have this on my list? It's the Magneton from the Surging Sparks Elite Trainer Box. It's by an artist you might have heard of, Shinji Kanda, the most hyped artist of the Pokemon TCG at the moment. Of course, the Giratina, the Magikarp, the Roaring Moon, the Galarian Moltres. So obviously, people will always be looking for Shinji Kanda artwork, and the Magneton is again a Gen 1 fan favorite Pokemon. Now you can see prices are around €10 right now, but I remember at the beginning this was a €4 to €5 card, so it has already doubled in just a very short time. PSA 10s will be around, let's see, listing starts at 120, which is still not crazy high. Price charting, a similar story. Pop report, 6,000 at the moment. And let's see at the pop report. The gem rate, I mean, it should be around, where's the card? It's 159. Here, Magneton. So around 50% gem rate again. And this is the crazy thing. Look at this, guys. So the Pokemon Center stamped version has a higher population than the regular version. Crazy. Crazy, crazy. I did pick up 2 of those. Sadly, I didn't receive the best grades. One of them graded an 8 and the other one a 9. I might need to crack these open and resubmit them and maybe get a better grade. Anyhow, so the last card on our list, obviously, it's the gray felt hat Pikachu, the Van Gogh inspired Pikachu card, which simply does not stop going upwards in price, even though this is one of the most graded cards with PSA and also the highest population with PSA. I believe we have crossed 40,000 PSA 10 copies of this card. Raw prices start at just under 300 euros and PSA 9 copies go for just over 300 euros. But the PSA 10 prices just keep going up and up and up. I believe we are at around 700 euros, but in dollar prices, we are now above $1,000. Since this card only released in Europe, I think in the US, it's obviously harder to find and maybe even more sought after. I do have a copy of this card in a PSA 9, and I do have another card currently with PSA, and I'm not sure if it will grade a 10, but we will see. Van Gogh, definitely one of my favorite artists growing up, so this is definitely a very dear card to me. So, this was my top 10 list of Scarlet Violet Era promo cards. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. I'm not sure that we will get any more crazy promo cards for the Scarlet Violet Era. Maybe you have heard of this box, the Team Rocket's Moltres Ultra Premium Collection, where we will receive new promo cards, but these are only reprints, so no new artwork. But obviously this will be a textured card with the Destined Rivals stamp on it. Kind of a lazy way, in my opinion. But that's it. That's it. Let me know what you guys think, and see you in the next video. Bye bye.